what we thought we would do tonight is people know David as the hitman. They know him as the man who finds the talent. You know him as the man who finds the talent, but there's the stories behind all of these talents. And so what we thought we would do tonight is we would share with you the man behind the hits and how he found the artists and take you down a little bit of memory lane and share some of those behind-the-scenes stories, which I have to tell you for 27 years, I always like to say I just ride the jet stream and hold on for dear life, but I have been blessed by this man immensely, not only by his talents, but by who he is and how much he gives back. And so David and Melissa and Matt, thank you for allowing us to be here tonight to not only honor Lane, but to celebrate his life. And that's what we hope we'll do tonight is this is now a part to celebrate. And we really want to do that because he is that beacon of hope for so many families. So tonight, let's get started, and we'll just talk about, very quickly, we're going to take you through 40 years of this gentleman. Oh, and by the way, actually, happy birthday.
Hey, thanks.
Hey.
It was yesterday.
So, yesterday...
By the way, I know that a lot of the guys are going like, who is this guy? I don't want to see anything about him. I'd rather be at the Peyton Manning thing. I know that Peyton Manning's in town. I'd sort of, if it wasn't for this great occasion, I'd probably want to meet Peyton Manning myself too, but you're going to have to suffer through me tonight.
Well, so let's just, we're gonna whip through the beginning fairly quickly here, but your parents, instrumental in your life, and tell us a little bit about just your parents and the impact that they had in your life.
I think you're either raised right or you're not, and Matt and Melissa are shining examples of parents that are raising children right, and my parents were great. I grew up in Victoria on an island. I had 6 sisters, great parents. They were supportive. You talked about, the perfect pitch thing. My mother found out I had perfect pitch when I was 4, and they started me on piano lessons. I don't know how they found the money for the 50 cents a week that it cost to get classical lessons, but, but they were just supportive, and they just were great parents.
Yeah, and when you look at Maurice and Eleanor was David's mother, was a lady who was a driving force behind David in so many ways, and I had the privilege to get to know her and just watch her silently just work, and it's really a reflection of where David is today.
And it was my mother that started my foundation when she called me and said, "There's a child in Los Angeles from your hometown. She's getting a liver transplant. You need to go see her right now." Yeah. And, of course, you always do what your mother says. Yep. And I went and saw her, and that changed. The light went off. And I got to admit that I was late coming to the charity game. I was maybe 31, 32 when that happened, and or even a little older. And up until then, I was just very selfish. I was just working on my career and trying to have hits and be the guy and all that. And but when that light does go off, it struck a chord in me, no pun intended, and I was off and running, and was never the same since. 6
sisters, 5 daughters, and
4 ex-wives.
Okay, that's it. None of those. We're going to stop there. Perfect pitch, age 4, the number 4. Talk about that. What is perfect pitch, and what happened?
Perfect pitch is just simply, my mother was dusting the piano like this. And she hits this note, and I said, "That's an E," from the other room, and I was 4. She was like, "I got to call your dad, because I don't know anything about music." And so she called my dad, who was an amateur piano player, and said, "You got to come home right now. There's something weird happening with our kid." And she came home, and of course, it was an E, and that's when they decided that I should have piano lessons.
So you went from age 4 to age 12, and you started your own band, Starlight Combo. Yeah. And tell just a very short bit. You were the guy who managed the band. You were the one that was out there, and you're 12 years old, and you go to see a family because their daughter's getting married, and what happens?
Well, I was a control freak. Am a control freak. Always have been. In the studio, I'm a dictator. Watch the Chicago documentary. Watch any of the documentaries. They'll tell you I was a dictator. But so back then, I knocked on the door of this family that we were doing the wedding for, and the father of the bride thought I was the paper boy. He literally did. He said, "Honey, the paper boy's here for the..." But I said, "No, I'm here to discuss the set list for your daughter's wedding." And I was 12, and I just always wanted to be that guy, you know.
And you did, and we're going to move it through some years here. But even when you were underage, they found a way, because of your talent, to get you into bars to play with the band. Right. One quick story, Century Inn, just
right. Well, my parents let me quit school when I was 16, strangely, because they were great parents, as I said. But there we are. So I joined Chuck Berry's band and left Victoria and moved to Europe at 16, and wanted to be a rock star. And that's Chuck Berry there, and he was a jerk, actually. But great music, but he was not a nice guy at all. In fact, take that picture down. That was the band. We thought we were so cool, but we were dorks. But then I came back at 18, and of course the drinking age in Canada is 21, probably like here. Well, it's 19 now, but it was 21 then. It doesn't matter. I was 17
that was a long time
when
ago,
I came back.
So, yeah.
And so I got a gig in a bar with the band, and they were all over 21, and I wasn't. So what they did is they cut a 5-foot square hole in the restaurant and put the piano up on a riser like this, and I played on the other side of the bar while the rest of the band played inside the bar. It was so
if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
1960s, wonderful time. Then you started to, after Century Inn, you met a man by the name of Ronnie Hawkins, and I know a little different story, but you're now just getting into that band stage, and just share a quick little bit about Ronnie Hawkins.
I don't know if people know who Ronnie Hawkins is. He's from Arkansas. Bill Clinton idolized and loved him, but he was this crazy guy who I joined his band, and I was now 18, and we were in Edmonton, and it's about a 2,000-mile drive to Toronto, and I said, "Great, how are we getting there?" And he had a bus, a tour bus that was amazing with bunks and everything. Yeah, there it is there. And I said, "Great, well, let's go." And I laid down on the bunk. He said, "Oh, no, you're driving the bus." I said, "I'm 18. I don't know how to drive a bus." He said, "Just make wide turns." And I don't even know if I had my driver's license then or not, because I had been in Europe. And
what happened?
Within 20 minutes, I had rolled it into a ditch. But he was drunk and he was asleep, and it took all night to get the bus out, and he didn't even know. And otherwise, we were on our way, and I drove it across Canada, and I was the bus driver in the band.
So from there, then you went and did a lot of session playing.
Right.
Alice Cooper and Hall & Oates, and then you did a tremendous amount of stuff there.
We had a band, and we were signed to Capitol Records after this. We moved to Los Angeles, and we were a one-hit wonder, and we were signed to Capitol Records. Because I loved the Beatles. The Beatles were like it for me. In fact, I want to ask the audience here, just by show of hands, Beatles or Stones? First, Beatles? Stones? Yeah, you guys all have tattoos, right? And you've dropped acid. I know. Not us Beatles guys. Anyways, the Beatles were like, they were it for me. I mean, I loved the Beatles. But they were signed to Capitol Records, so we got a deal at Capitol Records. And we were a one-hit wonder, and a lot of you are too young to remember this song, but it goes like this. Let her cry, for she's a lady. Let her dream, for she's a child. Let the rain fall down upon her. She's a free and gentle flower growing wild. And so we had one hit, and then the band broke up, and there I was with a new wife and a young baby, and Los Angeles just was the right place for me to be. Yeah. It felt right.
Yeah. And then from there, you got a call from one of the Beatles, George Harrison.
I did.
And then it started to roll. And then we're going to come back to the Beatles at the end here, but because I know you tracked them the whole way through your life.
Right.
But you got a call from George Harrison, and you also spent some time with Paul McCartney. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, that was in the 80s, and I produced Paul, and we made some great music together, and I did a lot of albums with George and Ringo. It was like you can imagine, for everybody in the room here, you're all a bunch of successful people, but we all have mentors, and we all have people that we admire and we idolize even. So when I got the call actually from Paul, it was better than the call even from George. And you know what? I always thought that the rub with the Beatles, I hope nobody's filming this little portion of, because when I sat with Paul, when I was working with him, I always thought the rub was John and Paul. But actually, the rub was Paul and George was the real rub in the Beatles. And I'm not going to say it, because somebody's going to be filming this, I'll get into trouble. I said something at an event last week, and I got filmed, and it was on TMZ, and it wasn't very good, so I'm not just going to shut up.
So let's go into the 70s. Let me help you out here, and we'll move on a little
thanks.
bit. You met a wonderful man and who has been a mentor to you for years, Quincy Jones. And there was a real life lesson that you learned from Quincy. Tell us about that.
This is a lesson that probably everybody knows, but I hadn't learned it at this point. But I was producing a band called the Average White Band, and we made an album, and I handed it to Quincy because Quincy was my mentor, and I loved him so, and I wanted to impress him and show him I was, going to be a great producer one day. And when I handed him the CD, or the album, I said, don't listen to track 1 because it's a little out of tune, and don't listen to track 3 because the song's not very good, and made excuses, but track 5 is really good, check that one out. And he grabbed the CD out of my hand, he said, let me see that. What does it say right there? It says The Average Right. No, below that. It says produced by David Foster. He said, right. He said, you're an idiot. He said, you put your name on something, and you're making excuses for it. And from that day forward, I swear to you, I have always tried to be great, which doesn't happen every day. Most days you're just good, but good being the enemy of great. From that day on, I never gave less than 1,000% in the studio. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And I've watched that.
Sorry?
I've watched that over the years, many, many times. 1980s, we get into some amazing people that you worked with. Lionel Richie, Chaka Khan, John Parr. You did the Calgary Olympics, which was a global stage.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of those years, and just Lionel. I mean, he was phenomenal, and still is phenomenal.
Lionel was great. I had dinner with him the other night, not to name drop, but raise your hand if you had dinner with Lionel Richie recently. I just wanted to back up a little bit, though, because another mentor of mine was, in just at the last part of the 70s, was Maurice White and Earth, Wind & Fire. So Earth, Wind & Fire I was obsessed with them, like the Beatles. I was obsessed with the Beatles and Earth, Wind & Fire, and I was determined to work with them. And like Matt and Melissa made a promise to their son that this would be the legacy, and after they're gone even, like this will carry on. I made it my mission that I was going to meet those guys and I was going to work with them. So I wrote a song with my friend Jay, and I gave it to Earth, Wind & Fire, and they said, we love the song, we want to record it. I said, great, when? And they said, tonight. And that spawned a decade of me working with, I think, one of the greatest bands ever. And the song was, Oh, and after the love is gone,
If you know the words, sing
what
along.
used to be right is wrong. Can love that's lost be found? Oh, and after the love is gone. So that just was a decade of heaven for me to work with those guys.
Yeah, and they sure enjoyed it. And even lately, just seeing the guys, they speak so highly of that time of their career because that jettisoned them, to the next stratosphere.
They were already pretty damn big without me. I'm not gonna lie, but I helped prop them up.
You did. You sure did. And that's at least what they say, and sincerely. Let's go on.
Can I jump to the little French Canadian?
I'd love you to do that.
Because I'm sitting here with Angie, and Angie says, out of all the people that I like, she says, I like Celine Dion. So Celine is, we're so cute there. When she saw that picture, she said, wow, your hair was really dark there. I said, yeah, so is yours. She's a blonde now, too, and I'm gray. But she was maybe 19 or 20 there. But we had a great run. I can't take credit for discovering her because she was already a star in Quebec when I came upon her. But I saw her singing in this tent in Quebec. She couldn't speak any English at all. And we brought her to Los Angeles, and I said, you know what? This is what's going to happen to you. 1, Barbra Streisand's going to know who you are. And 2, one day you're going to be known by your first name only. And she just couldn't believe any of it. And then I got the two of them together, and I took Celine to Barbara's house to have dinner. And Celine was so excited that she just watched her eat. She said, I couldn't eat. I just wanted to watch her, how she put the fork to her mouth. And of course, now Celine is an icon herself. Yeah. And there's many young singers that want to watch Celine eat and see how she puts the fork to her mouth. But we had a great run. We had so many hits together. And tonight I wanted to do a couple of them, but not with me singing, because you've already heard what that sounds like. And judging by your applause, it wasn't very good. By the way, where's Mallory? Yeah. You bragged about Rachmaninoff. You're going to play some Rachmaninoff before this night is out. And you were heavy on I played Rachmaninoff. Do you know how hard it is to play Rachmaninoff? I do. Yeah. So is that a no? Okay, no, thank you. Whenever there's a group of more than 50 people, there's always somebody that thinks they're a great singer. And usually they're not, which makes it a lot of fun. So if anybody at any point tonight wants to sing, is there anybody here that thinks they can impress me with 30 seconds? I still chairman of a record company, could still give you a record deal on the spot. Anybody? No? Think about it. In the meantime, we're going to do a couple of songs I did with Celine, and I want to introduce you to somebody that is so amazing. She was a finalist on American Idol a few years ago. These Celine songs are so hard to sing. It was just such a find when I came across her. And she graciously agreed to be here tonight. Just please welcome to the stage the incredibly talented, hey David, Pia Toscana. Pia, where are you? Oh, there you are. How are you, Pia?
Hi, David.
By the way, she works with J-Lo in Vegas when she's not with me, which is a more exciting gig than being with me for sure. But I've never asked you this in all the times we worked together.
Yes.
What your Idol experience was like.
Oh, it was amazing. I wish I could remember.
What season
most
was
of
it?
I was season 10.
Season
so
10.
finals on season 10, and it was like a blur. It was the best experience of my life, but of course it's the most nerve-wracking thing. And my judge was Jennifer Lopez, Steven Tyler, people that I've always watched and admired, and then, they're judging you. So it's
What's
quite
the best advice they gave you?
Jennifer said that she had so many doors slammed in her face, and she said, don't you ever, when I got eliminated, she said, don't you ever give up. Don't let the people that say no to you, don't let that affect you. Just keep getting stronger and keep going. So that's what I did.
Tonight you're in Omaha.
I'm in Omaha.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
A couple of Celine songs that we did back in the day. It goes like this. 1, 2.
The whispers in the morning of a lover's sleeping tight are rolling by like thunder now as I look in your eyes. I hold on to your body and feel each move you make. Your voice is warm and tender, a love that I could not forsake. 'Cause I'm your lady, and you are my man. Whenever you reach for me, I'll do all that I can. We're heading for something, somewhere I've never been. Sometimes I am frightened, but I'm ready to learn for the power of love. The sound of your heart beating made it clear suddenly. The feeling that I can't go on is like years away. 'Cause I'm your lady, and you are my man.
Maria Toscana.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Seriously. Wow.
Thank you, David. These are my favorite songs
Oh.
in the world.
Thank you. If I could do that, I wouldn't need you out here.
I'm glad you do.
So we flew all night to get here. We did a gig last night, or I did a gig last night. And what did you do last night?
I sang for the LA Kings.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You sang for the LA Kings, and I did a thing last night at Hilton, and we arrived at 5 a.m. and she sounds like that, like now. That's just insane.
Thank you.
So this next song, if you ever read Celine Dion's book, page 186, 187, you can read all about how much she hates me for this moment. Because in this song, there's a moment in the song, the note is so high, and it's so long, and it's so impossible to sing. So she sang it, and there was a little bubble in it in the first take. So I made her do it 7 more times. She hated me and cursed, and well, she did curse actually. She was just so fed up with it, and I ended up using take 1 because it was the best one because everyone got worse, right?
It's usually the first one.
It's usually the first one, yeah. So on page 186, 187, you can read all about it if you ever pick up her book. But we're friends. We're good now. But here's the thing: you only get one chance to get it right tonight.
No pressure.
Okay? I know you can do it. You'll know the note when it comes along. It's hard to miss. It's very hard to miss.
When I was young, I never needed anyone, and making love was just for fun. Those days are gone. Living alone, I think of all the friends I know. When I dial the telephone, nobody's home. All by myself, don't wanna be all by myself anymore. Hard to be sure. Sometimes I feel so insecure, and love so distant and obscure remains the cure. All by myself, don't wanna be all by myself anymore. All by myself, don't wanna live all by myself anymore. All by myself, don't wanna be all by myself anymore. By myself. All by myself.
Pia Toscana! Let's hear it!
Thank you so much.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you, Pia.
Thank you, David.
Woo. Amazing. Amazing. See, if Celine had done that note that way the first time, I wouldn't have had to make her do it 7 more times. What do you think of that? Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
I've worked a long time to find a girl that can do that.
Yeah, amazing. Wow. Well, let's keep going because there's.
Is there any singers in the audience yet? Who wants to follow that? Anybody?
Yeah, right? Come on. Holy smokes. 1980s, a great band that you worked with. They turned you down first time. Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Tell us the story of that. One of your greatest
Patrick
friends.
at our table, who, thank you again, Patrick and Angie, for underwriting this evening. That's so generous. Angie, Patrick was talking about, he said, what's Peter Cetera like? And I said, well, we were a couple for 7 years, Peter and I, but I was kidding. That was a joke. We weren't a couple. Peter Cetera was the lead singer in Chicago, but he was a great writing partner, and we wrote so many hits together, and I'll just bang out a few of them, just a few bars on them. It was just a great time for me to be with this band that I love and admired so much, but they had lost their way. They had, the album before, the first one that I did, had sold nothing. And Chicago 16, the first album I did, we sold, I think, 7 million or something. It was just a crazy time. But Peter and I were really kind of running the show, and we wrote songs like, he's the one, Peter's like bottom left, not bottom left, but the next one up. What do you call that? How do you say that?
Second on the left?
It's actually third on the left, but anyway. We wrote a lot of songs like this one. They're all owned by ex-wife number 2, by the way. She lives in Malibu. Everybody needs a little time away. I heard her say from each other, hold me now. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry, and I just want you to know. After all that we've been through, I will make it up to you. You can't get to Malibu in one song. So,
I have to tell you, every time he sings that, he looks into my eyes, it wakes me out. So.
Well, if you think that's bad, this one, the judge actually believed these lyrics. You're the meaning in my life. You're the inspiration. You bring feeling to my life. You're the inspiration. I want to have you near me. I want to have you hear me say, no one needs you more than I need you. I want to tell you a little story, though, about, So, again, raise your hand if you've ever been nominated for an Oscar. Anybody? Okay, well, I have, and I've lost 3 times. And I'm not bitter about all the songs I've given away to all the wives, but I am bitter about losing every time at the Oscars. Because this time, this particular song that Peter and I wrote, we should have won, for sure. So just to set the scenario, when you get nominated for an Oscar, you think you have no chance because you're trying to be humble, and you think the other 4 songs are going to win, and you're not. And then as it gets closer, David, you think, our song's pretty good. We stand a slight chance. And then you get closer and closer, and you look at the competition, and you think, their songs are good, but ours is as good. And then when you're sitting there that night, and then it's the camera's on, you know how they divide the screen up, and the winner for the best song of the year, or the Oscar goes to, and you're almost out of your seat, because you're just sure, you look around, the other 4 songs are crap, and you're the best song, right? And it's just the mental game you play, and I've done it 3 times, and I've lost all 3 times. But maybe I should play a different mental game, and it could work out. But anyway, and the winner is... So my song that Peter and I wrote was from Karate Kid 2, which is an okay movie, but basically it was like the old guy from Happy Days, and that guy, and Ralph Macchio, who, anybody know whatever happened to him? And there he is, and he was called Grasshopper, so we got the word Grasshopper. Now, The movie that won was a masterpiece movie called Top Gun. Yes. Top Gun, they had like Maverick and Iceman. And I mean, it was so romantic. And here's the song that won, okay? You ready? Anybody know the song that won? Not Danger Zone. Exactly my point. Nobody knows.
Take my breath away.
I have the Tiger. You're off like by a decade. This is my point. Okay, here's the song that won. It's not a bad song, but it goes, take my breath away. Right? Really? And then they didn't even, and then it goes, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. They didn't even finish the lyrics. And it won. Now, if our song had been in Top Gun, imagine this song, we would have won. Well, imagine this song in Top Gun. Yes. I am a man who would fight for your honor. I'll be the hero you're dreaming of. We're gonna live forever, knowing together that we did it all for the glory of love. I'm telling you.
Oh, I love it. You would have won.
Ugh.
You would have won for sure. I know.
Which reminds me about one more story about Celine. Out of all the hits that I had with her, the one song that I didn't do because I hated it, and I told her, I actually said these words to her. I said, Celine, if you record this song, it will ruin your career. The song was the Titanic song.
So how'd that work out?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, actually, when it came out, it was not a hit. It failed. And I said, see, I told you, we've had a string of like 7 hits in a row. You do this Titanic song, it's not a hit. And it really wasn't. And then the movie came out. And then, of course, the song became like her #1 biggest selling ever, whatever. And so when people ask me now about Celine, like, they're like, you know, if it gets on, you're on an airplane or something, and like, oh, what do you do? I'm a pretty blah, blah. Anything I would have heard of, yeah. And then you're trying to be humble, but you know, like, I got 16 Grammys, so I know that I'm good. But so you work your way around to like telling them that you're like great. And so that you mentioned Celine Dion. What's the first thing they say? Oh, I love that Titanic song. Really? What about The Power of Love? What about Because You Love Me? What about All by Myself? What about? No. So now I just say, yeah. I know I did that song. It's great. I lied. I do, I swear. Because it's just easier. Ugh, I still hate that song. Stop that. It did work in the movie, I will say that.
It really did, actually. Yeah. Now, let's move on, and I'll dig you out of this one a little bit.
Okay.
But you know, Celine Dion, unbelievable. Then you actually started working with somebody else. But before you started working with that amazing lady, you met a gentleman, and you were on Chartmaker. And you were up in British Columbia, and you were going to, this person was going to come on your boat, on
Right.
your vessel with you. And you met him, and that changed a whole trajectory for you. So
Right.
tell me about that.
Yeah, my friend called me and said, I have a friend who's just finished a very long movie, and he knows British Columbia, and he doesn't know British Columbia, but he wants to get away with his wife for a few days. Would you invite him? Would you have him on your boat? When I say boat, I had like a 53-foot boat. It wasn't like it was a mega yacht, but I said, sure. I mean, this was a good friend of mine, so I said, sure, no problem. So the guy and his wife come up. I pick him up at the dock. It's Kevin Costner and his wife, right? Now, that particular day, my wife, the plaintiff, I call her, Linda from Hee Haw, as we talked about, we were arguing about something, and I had said to her, you take the boat out, I'm not going. So now I'm thinking, Kevin Costner and my wife on the boat, no, that is not going to happen. So I made up with my wife real fast that day. Anyway, we ended up taking Kevin and his wife out for a few days, and And he said, I'm just kind of tired because I've just finished this movie. And the movie had just finished. This movie, he didn't even say what it was. The movie was Dances with Wolves, right? And he said, I'm working on this new movie now. And we got to know each other, and he knew about my music. And he said, you know, you should do the music for this movie and write the songs and all that. And it would be great. It's a story about me. I'm going to play the part of a bodyguard. And it sounded interesting to me. And he didn't say anything about Whitney Houston or anything. And of course, like you said, Mike, that changed, again, the trajectory of my life, because The Bodyguard became, I don't want to say it was Whitney's greatest record, because I don't think it was, but I think it was the last of her greatness, as we knew it. And I caught her at this beautiful moment where she was just like a laser beam, and every night she would come into the studio after filming for 12 hours every day, and she would just step up to the mic and rip her jacket off and go, and she was so amazing. And we had three hits. There was a fourth hit that I didn't do, but I did the 3 hits. And, Whitney. She was something. And so I found this incredible singer. Oh, I can't wait for you to hear her. Stevie Wonder introduced me to this girl. He said, you're going to love her. And boy, did I fall in love with her. She is so amazing. And again, like Celine, they make it their own. I'm not saying that she's copying Whitney, but she's a triple threat, this girl. She plays piano beautifully. She writes, she sings, she produces. She corrects me when I play the wrong chords on her songs. She's that brilliant. And we're going to do 3 of the songs that I did from The Bodyguard, 2 of which I wrote and produced, and 1 that I produced. And just in a medley. It's not going to take that long, but you're going to be really impressed. Please welcome to the stage Shalea. Where are you, Shalea? These were your 2 dinner guests, by the way. Did you know they could sing?
Come on, beautiful.
Hi, Shalea, beautiful.
I don't correct you. I can't correct you.
Yeah, you can.
How's everybody doing tonight? Isn't it amazing? Wow. And this is the table. This table rocks right here.
Yeah, so I think I pretty much summed it up. You never met Whitney, did you?
I didn't.
No.
I didn't. No, I did a tribute to her, though, when she passed. And her daughter, Bobby Christine, who also rest in peace, she found me on social media and wrote me and told me, wow, thank you so much for your tribute. And when I hear you, I feel my mom's spirit with me. So, of course,
Nice.
that was so rewarding.
Let's do it again.
What a
Shall
legacy, yes.
Yeah, shall
Let's
we?
do
Here
it.
we go.
Yeah.
Oh, interestingly, stop for 1 second.
Okay.
So, interestingly, not you, I'm sorry, I was talking to Jorge. This first song is called I Have Nothing. Go.
The man with everything, right? Any Whitney Houston fans out there? Yeah? Okay, good. So you guys love these songs like I do then.
Here we go.
Share my life, take me for what I am, 'cause I'll never change all my colors for you. I don't really need to look very much further. I don't wanna have to go where you won't follow. I won't hold it back again. This passion inside can't run from myself. There's nowhere I'm more. Your love I remember forever. Don't make me close one more door. I don't wanna hurt anymore. Stay in my arms if you dare. I must die imagine you there.
song.
I wanna run to you. I wanna run to you. Won't you hold me in your arms and keep me safe from harm? I wanna run to you. But if I come to you, tell me, will you stay or will you run away?
Beautiful, Shalea.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And the song that, I don't know, love song of the century,
Love song of love songs.
but produced by me, but written by Dolly Parton. But we did find the money note in it. It goes like this.
You did. Who sung this on karaoke before? Drunk karaoke has to be, right? And I will always love you. Can I hear you sing a little bit? Will always love you. I knew you had it. I hope life treats you kind, and I hope you have all you dreamed of, and I wish you joy and happiness, but above all this, I wish you love.
2, 3.
And I will always love you. I will always love you. I will always love you. I will
Take your time, girl.
you. Darling, I love you. I'll always love you.
Shalea Fraser. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I mean, we have set the bar high here tonight.
Very sweet.
Amazing.
Oh,
Amazing.
amazing time.
Back to you, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, you
Wait,
know,
what
when
time is it? Are we done? No, we're not.
do you guys want us to keep going for
You
a
want us
bit,
to be
or
done?
Just a little bit? Okay.
So it's 9 o'clock. Wait, I just get them started.
Yeah. Well, I thought, you know, we went, why don't we go to a little Natalie?
Sure.
You know, because that was a great time in your life in the 90s. But let's maybe talk a little bit about when, I always remember when you brought Natalie and Nat King Cole together and how you did that.
Oh, my God. Look at Natalie there.
And share about that story, because it was a long drive down San Fernando Valley in a drab building, and how you pieced that together. 'Cause
Natalie, I just lucked out, you know, just doing the Unforgettable album and producing it, and I didn't know that she wanted to do a duet with her father, and it was the craziest thing because it was like out of the movies. I went out to this old place in Glendale where they keep the tapes, and the guy was this old guy's like grabs it from the shelf, and he kind of blows the dust off and hands me this tape of Nat King Cole singing Unforgettable. And I took it back to my studio, and of course in those days the technology was a lot more difficult than it is today. It would be much easier to mix the two voices, but back then there was no technology to do it really, so we were kind of like inventing technology. I mean, I was kind of like Steve Jobs, to tell you the truth. No, but we came up with a way to, so I knew that I could get him to sing and her to sing and for them to sing together, and I knew I could get her to answer him, but the real trick was when I got him to answer her, and when her and her mother heard that, they just cried, because that was their dad and their husband, and it was a great moment, and that album went on to sell millions and millions of records, and we didn't even know we were just making music, but you had told me that that album, well, you could tell the people.
It just changed my life. I told him, I grew up in the church, so a lot of gospel music, and of course, Whitney Houston was every girl's dream to be like. But when I heard that album, I had no idea that our paths were going to cross. And when I heard that album, that's the moment I actually wanted to be an artist. Wow. So I have you to thank for that, you and Natalie.
Awesome. Yeah, she was a really, really dear friend,
Yeah.
and a great singer, great woman. So, but you need a singing partner.
I do need a singing. I want you to sing it with me, but there's...
Not a chance. And Nat King Cole is not here tonight, okay?
Nat King
So,
Cole.
but we do have somebody.
We do.
So this young man I found a few years ago, and he's somebody that covers so much ground musically, as you will find out in the next 10 minutes. But for now, he's going to be your male counterpart in this.
I love it.
And I won't say anything more about him just yet, but he'll talk a little bit about himself. Please welcome Fernando Varela from Puerto Rico.
That's my table over there, number 4.
That's the table.
Represented, yeah.
I've heard about this table. He said this was the awesome table. I got it. I see.
See all the ladies?
I do see
how
all
lucky
the
I was?
ladies, the
Absolutely.
lovely ladies. I do.
Anybody speak Spanish in this room? No? It's Omaha, I forgot.
Well, there's always one. ¿De dónde?
She's come. We got one right here.
Oh,
Where?
so we got
Right here.
There we go.
At the one at my table.
Shall we do this?
I think we shall.
Yeah.
Okay. Go like this.
If you want to slow dance over there, you can. But just say it.
Unforgettable. That's what you are.
Unforgettable, though near or far.
Like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more
Unforgettable in every way.
and forevermore.
And forevermore.
That's how you'll stay.
That's how you stay.
That's why, darling, it's incredible
That someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
Nice.
Whenever a lady asks to dance, the answer is always yes. Right.
Hey, don't forget you're married, Fernando.
No, never before has someone been more every way.
In every way.
And forevermore.
And forevermore.
That's how you'll stay.
That's how you stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
That's Fernando Ruella, and that's Shalea. Thank you, Shalea. All right, so Fernando.
Yes, sir.
Maybe you could tell the folks a little bit about yourself, and I want to show you he did that beautifully. That was beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
But believe it or not, that's not his strong suit. I mean, if there is such a thing, as great as that sounded, he's got another trick up his sleeve or two. But maybe you could talk a little bit about, the event here and. You met Melissa and Matt today.
Yeah,
right?
I met them for the first time today, and it's such an honor and a privilege to be here performing for all of you, but for such a wonderful cause. I'm originally from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and yeah, my little island needs all the love it can get right now. It's going to be a long road, but I grew up actually in Orlando, Florida, and I was telling Matt early on. As a community, that your story hit us really hard because as locals, we go to those parks all the time and we play in the same places. And, Disney's such an integral part of Orlando. So I hope you felt the love from our community to you all the way out here. As a singer, I have a little bit of a different story because I actually auditioned for college, David, for music, and they laughed at me on my audition and told me I didn't have what it took to be a singer and to find something else, to stay. I was in the School of Business at the time, and I was going to transfer to music, and they said, stay in business, you seem like a smart guy, you'll do well, music is not for you. And that actually was the moment that kind of lit the fire underneath
the
me.
lighthouse moment.
The lighthouse moment. And really made me want to pursue music. And
Yeah. Well, if I had been with you back then, I would have picked this song for you to sing instead of whatever song you sang. You
Okay.
probably didn't sing this song for your audition,
No,
did
I
you?
didn't sing that.
Yeah, you should have sung this song, I'm telling you now.
should we do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
3, and hold on.
Nessun dorma, nessun dorma. Tu pure, o principessa, nella tua fredda stanza, guardi le stelle che tremano d'amore e di speranza. Ma il mio mistero è chiuso in me, il nome mio nessun saprà. No, no, sulla tua bocca l'attirò quando la luce per il mio bacio scioglierò il silenzio che ti famiglia. Ti leggo
I hate you. God. That's amazing. That's really amazing. Mike, what do you say to that?
Every time I hear Fernando sing that, I get excited because I know what's coming, and it's like the part gets going.
That's a little song I wrote a few years. No, I didn't. But to me, that's the most perfect pop. I believe it's a pop song. It's Puccini, but it's the most perfect pop song ever written. The melody is just flawless. It's like the arc of the song. It's
incredible.
It moves everybody. If you're not moved by that,
Yeah, it really is. I'm just looking at time here, so I want to try and kind of move us through some air. But do you want to keep going with Fernando, or do you want to? We've got a little bit of play here, so.
Well, I thought about. It's a joyous night. I think. Trying to make it a joyous night, even though a lot of my music is like just so slow and like. Ugh. But it's kept 4 ex-wives very happy. But there is a song that I wrote. If there was a song that I would dedicate to the honor of why we're here tonight, it would be this song. And it's a song I wrote originally for Andrea Bocelli and Celine Dion. And it's one of these crazy songs. And sometimes when I say this, it gets a laugh, but it's not supposed to get a laugh because I'm being serious about it. It's a song that's played at weddings and funerals. And there's not many songs, when you think about it, there's Ave Maria, there's Wind Beneath My Wings, and I don't know if there's another one. But this song it's at a happiest moment and a saddest moment. I thought it might be a great song to dedicate to the occasion tonight and dedicate to Lane. And it was actually written, again, I lost the Oscar for this song. We won the Golden Globe, lost the Oscar. The winner is some stupid animated song. I don't even remember what it was. The Egyptian princess or something.
There's no bitterness there.
No. But what was my point? Oh, so I wrote it about, I wrote it with my friend Carol Bayer-Sager, and it was an animated feature that stiffed called Quest for Camelot, but the song was originally written, it's called The Prayer, but it was originally called A Mother's Prayer. And it made me think about you, Melissa, because this is it's about a young woman, a mother sending her young daughter off to war in medieval times, and the daughter's 14 or 15 years old, and it's a prayer to ask to keep her safe while she's in and you won't see the movie because nobody did, but the message was great, the song was great, is great, and. I think we should do it with you and Pia because you guys do it so beautifully and dedicate it to the night. It's called The Prayer.
I think that's a great idea.
And it's a joyous occasion, okay? It's not a sad occasion. Oh, hi, Pia.
Hi.
Did you hear what he just did?
Oh, I can't. You're amazing.
I got to say.
It's not fair.
I got so lucky. I have 3 of the greatest singers on the planet here tonight. I'm not kidding. And I know the difference. So, with that said, let's do this for Lane, okay?
Pray open your eyes and watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
La luce che tu dai
Pray we'll find your light
nel cuore resterà.
and hold it in our hearts.
ricordarci che
stars go out each night.
l'eterna stella sei. E la mia preghiera,
Let this be our
quanta fede c'è.
when shadows fill our day.
Lead us to a place,
Guide us with your grace.
give us faith so we'll be saved. Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia e di speranza. Ognuno viva, ma non sta vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che ci dà
We ask that life be
e
kind
il desiderio che
and watch us from above.
ognuno trovi amore
We hope it's so we'll find
intorno e dentro a sé.
another soul true love.
Let this be our prayer,
Let this be our prayer.
just like every child.
Just like every child
needs to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved. Nella fede che hai acceso in noi. Sento che ci salve.
Pia and Fernando. So we have two choices here. We could rock it with Got to Be Real, or we could do a version that we worked out of Hallelujah of the three singers. I don't know. It's a tough call, right? Both? Both is cool with us. It's like you guys that got to go to bed. You're like oh, my babysitter. Oh, got to get home. Right? Where did he go? Where did Patrick go? Has he gone home? No. Oh, there you are. Hi, Patrick. Hallelujah or this disco song that I wrote called Got to Be Real, or both? Your choice. Hallelujah. Okay. Oh, and then we're going to do Got to Be Real, and you guys can just dance and have fun. Finally, a song that I wrote that has some lively beat to it, you know? Okay. You ready?
Yeah. Heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. You don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: before the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composed and hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Un ateo que consiguió creer y un hambriente hoy tiene de comer y hoy donaron a una iglesia una fortuna. Que la guerra pronto se acabará, que en el mundo al fin reinará la paz, que no habrá miseria alguna. Aleluya, aleluya, aleluya,
I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah,
Oh, yeah. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mike.
You might as well dance a little bit. Let me see it. Omaha. I know you got some moves out there. What you think? What you feel?